Got the right away, yeah. We down here. Courthouse. Day one. You got signs getting made. You already got a few signs. Extra megaphones, paint brushes. Got this megaphone here. So we're back at the same corner that we've been at. This tablet a little bit bigger than the phone is. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hold this tablet while I'm on this megaphone. I'm gonna sit it up for a little bit and see how that goes.
Ago, second?
Yeah. Second?
Okay. On October 2nd, Rockford police officer Dominic McNeese shot an unarmed black man in his back 4 times. 4 times he was shot in his back 4 times by Officer Dominic McNeese. So we will be outside of this courthouse every single day with megaphones, with speakers, and with sirens until the findings of the Winnebago Boone Integrity Task Force until that shooting come out. And those findings need to come out as it's an unjustifiable shooting. Tyrus Jones was shot by Officer Dominic McNeese. Shot 4 times, shot twice in the back, once in the leg and once in the arm. Unarmed black man. Shot by a Rockford police officer. After 5 months of this nation being out protesting about police excessive force on black people, police harassment of black people, police brutality of black people, a police officer from the Rockford Police Department shot an unarmed black man 4 times, twice in his back, once in his arm, and once in his leg, and the city has kept moving as if nothing happened. So every day we will be out here outside of this courthouse until some kind of justice is served for Tyrus being shot by Officer Dominic McNeese. And the same way we did before, we be out here at 9 a.m. promptly every single day. People walking back and forth in and out of this courthouse. People walking up and down the street will know the name of Officer Dominic McNeese, who tried to lynch a black man in the streets because he has a badge. And the Rockford Police Department, Rockford police officers, the city officials, the Winnebago County State's Attorney, all of these people have given no transparency to the family of Tyrus Jones, and all of these people have been hypocritical in the stances that they took when these issues were going on in Kenosha or when these issues were going on in Minneapolis earlier this year. It was all condemnation of those acts for Rockford police officers. Excuse me, it was all condemnation of those acts from Minneapolis and Kenosha police officers. And now that the issue has touched Rockford at his doorstep, the mayor hasn't had a single press conference to speak on it. The state's attorney is allowing the Winnebago Boone Integrity Task Force to drag their feet. And the city has kept moving. People stopped when somebody got killed in Minneapolis. People stopped when Jacob Blake was shot in Kenosha. We need that same thing going on here for Tyrus Jones, who was shot by the Rockford Police Department, police officer Dominic McNeese. We'll put this siren on while I take a drink of my coffee. Dominic McNeese shot an unarmed black man 4 times, twice in his back, once in his arm, and once in his leg. Tyrus Jones, the same way you know the name of George Floyd, you need to make sure that you know the name of Tyrus Jones, that you having dialogue and having conversations about Tyrus Jones. Officer Dominic McNeese 3 weeks ago. This officer is still collecting paychecks. This officer has not been arrested for the shooting, as one of us would be arrested if we did the shooting. Instead, the city has done its best to try to keep people uninformed or misinformed about the issue. Tyrus Jones was shot by Officer Dominic McNeese 4 times, twice in the back, once in the arm, and once in the leg. Before he could even recover from his injuries, the Winnebago County State's Attorney had him moved and put into the Winnebago County Jail, where he is receiving unjust treatment in the jail. He should be either at home resting with his family or in a hospital resting to heal from his wounds. But because he was shot by a Rockford police officer, he is being criminalized and victimized and forced to sit in jail after having multiple surgeries and fighting for his life just over a week ago. So we'll be out here every single day until the findings of the Winnebago Boone Integrity Task Force come back. And when those findings come back, they need to come back and find that shooting unjustifiable. And the dash cam video of that car needs to be released to the public immediately. So until those things happen, until there's justice for Tyrus Jones being shot and being attempted to be murdered by Officer Dominic McNeese, until the Winnebago Boone Integrity Task Force comes out with its findings and finds that officer unjustifiable in his shooting, until that officer is held to the fullest extent of the law, like how black and brown boys are held to the fullest extent of the law when they get caught committing a crime. It will be disruption outside the courthouse at 9 a.m. Justice for Tyrus Jones, who was shot by Officer Dominic McNeese 3 weeks ago. This officer has been able to probably still collect paychecks. This officer is sitting at home and enjoying time with his family, being able to watch football games on Sundays, being able to binge watch TV shows on Netflix on Fridays and Saturdays. And the person that he shot, the person he attempted to murder, has been in a medically induced coma for weeks, and once he awakened from the medically induced coma, he was forced to be put into an infirmary in Winnebago County Jail. Where's the justice in that? Where's the justice in that? So until it is justice for Tyrus Jones, until it is justice for Mikey Guzman, who was killed by a South Beloit police officer, until it's justice for Jovan, who was killed by the Metro Enforcement Agency, it will be no peace outside of this building. I can stay out here no matter what the code is. It'll be somebody out here with this megaphone and with this siren. And every week that passes is going to be more disruptive than the week before. Every week that passes is going to be more chaotic and more loud than the week before. So I recommend that the Winnebago Boone Integrity Task Force wraps up its investigation in a speedy manner And I recommend that that investigation is wrapped up and that it finds what we all know, that Dominic McNeese was unjustifiable in his attempted murder of Tyrus Jones. For 5 months, we have watched as these police officers have brutalized protesters. We've watched as these police officers have assaulted and used chemical weaponry on protesters. And for months, people screamed about the issues and the corruption when it comes to the police department in this city. And people turned a blind eye. People put their head in the sand, and Tyrus Jones paid the penalty for those people turning a blind eye. Tyrus Jones paid the penalty of those people putting their head in the sand. And each and every one of us can be Tyrus Jones at any moment. It's a whole city full of black and brown boys that can end up like Tyrus Jones at any moment when officers like Dominic McNeese are given no accountability and are allowed to move with impunity on these streets. Where is the justice for Tyrus Jones, an unarmed black man who was shot in the back by Rockford police officer Dominic McNeese? Where's the uproar for Tyrus Jones, an unarmed black man who Dominic McNeese attempted to lynch on South Main and Harrison 3 weeks ago? Every person that goes in and out of this building, it has to pay a fine, or do probation, or do parole, or gets any sentencing from these judges in here. All of those things are hypocritical because they're allowing an attempted murderer to walk on our streets on a daily basis. Somebody who tried to kill a man in broad daylight. Somebody who tried to kill a man in broad daylight. Where's the justice for Tyrus Jones? When will Dominic McNeese be held accountable for his inhumane actions? When will Dominic McNeese be held accountable for trying to lynch Tyrus Jones in the middle of the street? The justice at for Tyrus Jones, who Officer Dominic McNeese attempted to lynch in the street 3 weeks ago? When will the mayor of this city come out and condemn Dominic McNeese the same way he came out and condemned officers in Minneapolis, or the way he came out and condemned officers in Kenosha? When will the Winnebago Boone Integrity Task Force wrap up its investigation into Tyrus Jones? An open and shut case. Open and shut case. He was shot unarmed. He was shot in his back. It's unjustifiable. When will the video from that dash camera of that car be released? For months, the mayor of this city rested his head on being the reason that we have video cameras in each one of these cruisers. For months, he talked to reporters and he told reporters one of the best things he did involving policing was making sure that it was a video camera in each one of these cars' dash. Making sure that it was dash camera footage for each one of these cars. So we need the dash camera footage for Dominic McNeese's car on the day that he shot Tyrus Jones. That video needs to be released to the family, and then that video needs to be released to the public so we as a community can see the characteristics of the officers that patrol our streets. Where is the justice for Tyrus Jones, who was shot by a Rockford police officer while he was unarmed, who was shot in the middle of the streets, who was gunned down in the middle of the streets? Where is the justice for Tyrus Jones? Where is the justice for Tyrus Jones, who was gunned down in the middle of the street by Rockford police officer Dominic McNeese? Where's the justice for Tyrus Jones, who was gunned down in the middle of the street by Officer Dominic McNeese 3 weeks ago? When will that officer be held accountable for his actions? I'm gonna need new batteries. I'm not gonna be able to do this.
I'm not gonna be able to do this.
That's crazy. Hope it's working the next one.
I think that's the same one we had when we was merchant. It was messed up. Look at you. Okay.
There we go. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.